Um, my name is Gaetan Pilotto, and I'm coming here to tell you a bit about IoT. Who am I? I'm Gaetan Pilotto. I'm a consultant at ITQ, but my real passion is in IoT. Um, I started out at the Technical University in Delft, and there's where I learned robotics and all about mechatronics. And this way I kind of got in touch with IoT and I fell in love with it. That means that I don't really have an IT background, so I learned my skills all by myself. That's why I try to learn so many different things, so I know a little bit of a lot. This presentation will be about the IoT network, a bit about VMware IoT, how does VMware see IoT? And then I will move over to examples. My IoT network, as you can see here, stalled out. Yeah, that with the demos. I have a few keywords. I think everybody knows Internet of Things or IoT. If you don't, then just stop me. Edge and edge system means that it doesn't have to be, it has to be a connected system. Systems that provide data, which you wanna, you wanna do stuff with the data, I guess. So then we have the gateway. The gateway is the middleman, as we say. A connected device is a smart device, and OT stands for Operation Technology. So how does an IoT network look? We have things which give us data, but we get numbers. So what do we have to do? On the edge, we have to convert these numbers to usable data. Then we send this through to a cloud or a private server, and then we can manage these through business apps or your own apps or whatever, graphs. So VMware. VMware sees it like this. You have the things. This will talk to an agent, for VMware the Leoda agent, and then it will send that through to the server via different communication methods. But that's the easy way to look at it, because everybody knows that we have all these things in the background, like onboarding, management, monitoring, and security, which makes it very difficult for businesses to keep it safe, keep it logical, and keep it plain, and not to get all data. Like when you keep all the data, it gets too crowded, so you have to look what is interesting data for you to keep. VMware helps us in this with their Pulse IoT Center, which makes it all these things below. And in this way, we can do what we like to do, and is just play with these things without worrying about management or security. While the Pulse Center dashboard looks a lot like other VMware products. Here you can see the data from your edge system. By the way, this is from the hands-on labs. This is purely simulated. And that's why I will go over to my IoT network. You have all these different sensors, motors, LEDs, and they are controlled by numbers. So how do we manage these numbers? With our edge device. My preferred edge device is the Node MCU. It's this little black chip which has a Wi-Fi chip. Can everybody see it? And these are very cheap. If you buy them in bulk from, say, around 5, they cost 150, so they're very cheap. But you can also use a Raspberry Pi, which is a Linux system, so it's much easier to use applications and stuff. And what we do with this data, we send it through. I use MQTT in this particular setup. I will go into that a bit later. And so what do we do with this data? We send it through so you can see it on in clear graphs and charts to see what's going on. So how do we control these things? I know that these aren't the only ones. These are the ones I use most. I use the Arduino IDE most. It's a C++ language. But I also use Python. Python is also a very common IoT language. And Blink, which is an app. And you can just drag and drop, and it's really just graphical user interface. Here you can see the Arduino IDE, written in C, Python, and the Blink app. As you can see, you just, here you get the number, and you can set which pin it uses, and it's done after that. So how do we communicate with these things? I use mostly MQTT in the form of a broker, JSON through API over the web, or just an HTML page, just to make it easy. MQTT, what does it stand for? It's a way of telling, it uses nodes. That's very important, and you can subscribe or publish with these nodes. Let's say these are publish nodes, and they have some kind of form in which way they couple the data to what this data represents. And this is just words with a slash in between. So you can say subscribe to the country, city, and location, each with a slash. So you can say when I want to know what weather it's going to be in Holland, not in America, but this one sends all. So it sends America, Holland, and then you have the subscribe devices, with which you can say, okay, now I want London for this device. And the broker just receives and passes on. It doesn't do anything else, and that's a good way to make it scalable. So you can add many devices to publish and many devices to subscribe, and the broker just redirects. So you don't have to do a lot, as just say subscribe to country, city, location. In this example, the sensor temperature, UK, London. With JSON, everybody knows JSON, I guess. If you don't, it's a very also a very lightweight way to transport data. It uses colons instead of slashes, and it's mostly used in APIs. And I use HTML just because it's quick, easy, and it looks okay. So now, how do we communicate over the internet? There are also a lot of choices. These are my preferred public cloud services as AWS, Azure, web hosting, or just local if you have no need for them to be on the internet. Now, how do we manage these? We can manage these local or over the cloud, or maybe with VMware Pulse IoT Center. This is how it looks on the local control center on Node Red, which I'm using also at the moment. That one is AWS, and here is VMware. As you can see, they look all really alike, and that's because they are all really alike. So now the demo. So I showed you that, let's begin from the beginning. I have LED strips, I cut them in pieces, and I just added them to my edge device. So when we connect it, we get something like this. As you can see, it's very easy, it's straightforward. HTML has all these basic stuff. Oh, yeah, okay. Or not. What the hell?
Change the slide. You need to change the slide.
Change the slide. The slider. Oh yeah, it's on black.
Oh, it's on black, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you. Voilà.
The color is changing though. Yeah, go back. It's white. It's white now.
Oh yeah, that's fine. It's Windows. Like on my Mac, it all works straight away. But we can also set brightness if it's too bright, or the speed. Let's make it really fast and light it up. That's not quite what I had in mind. Yeah, sure. Oh, hop. Okay, we'll go on to the next, no problem. Where's my yeah, here. Wat? Oh, eigenlijk niet. Toch bedankt. Jesus. Okay, so this is my dashboard. As you can see, it looks a lot like all the rest, the AWS and the VMware. You can set all these as you want, but I'm measuring here the temperature with this little fella. The blue one measures temperature and air humidity, which you can see here. And I display it here on this one. The top is temperature, the bottom is the humidity. As you can see, this is really standalone. You can subscribe, and I subscribe with this one to that one. It's easy as that. And I have a soil sensor. And when I plug it in, I get squirted all over with water. So it measures, oh, it's not. And this way you can automate all the stuff. You can also add other functionalities. Or even put it off. So I will go back to my slides because I also have one more slide. Are there any questions?
Yes. So take a simple sensor. How long would it take you to set something up with, let's say, a Raspberry Pi W, like the tiny Raspberry Pi?
Well, when you know what to do with the data that comes in, because it will mostly be like from 0 to 255 or from 0 to 1024. And if you know what this data is, and then you can connect, and the connection itself is 1 minute work. The program, what you want to do with it, like if you just want to blink an LED, that's a 2-minute job. And it depends on which language you use or how you want to communicate with this sensor. Any more questions?
Can you also use if this then that type of thing?
Yeah, sure.
In this,
Sure. Definitely. If anyone doesn't know if this then that, it's also a kind of communication between devices. Any more questions? Then thank you very much for listening.